Oh, it's a straight shift too. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. You could do that. Yeah, well, it's just, it's always just sitting there. He's in a white place. It's the same thing that was. It's always been the way it was actually built. So it's one way. Do it, man. One of the grass is last. And I was saying, you get 64. I love that. You don't have to work that using. This is a 25, 15, I think both of them. We just lost it. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Hey, Brian, I just do it like. Everything's on. I went through Big Charles today. We got 21 ships back. Which is usually like one or two problems. 21 ships. It looks like a big parking lot out there back. So yeah, they said we can do that. So we do a shut down on that. They would all go with it. We maybe even unload. It's an hour out there. It's like it's just like 13,000 people, 5,000 trucks and various places, trains, all that.
All right, we'll call the meeting to order. Have a forum. Go ahead and continue. I had the approval of any corrections to the minutes from the October 15th meeting. Comment on the meeting. The minutes, Robert. I feel here a motion to approve.
So
Second.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye. Opposed? All right, public comments. Floor is open for public comments at this moment. Anything? Al, do you have anything? Okay. Hearing none, we'll continue on to Brian's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Looking forward to 2020. Similar to kind of show you where we finished up in 2021. When most of you see this in the board reports and publication. 2021, tonnage wise, we ended up a little over 973,000 tons. Compare that against 2020 tons, it's real close, a little over 963,000 tons. There was a year-over-year increase in tons, 9,700 tons, 9,700 ton increase year-over-year. 2020, 2021. Obviously, most of that was rail driven. To give you just a show you the percentage wise of what was rail in 2021 of the total tons, 76.5% was in 2020. Fairly consistent of those 963,000 tons, 72.7%. Thank you. See the vast majority. Well, right. See a slight increase. Here, 5,000 tons. A lot of that. 2020, over 700,000. 21 was low. 745,000. Most of that chalked up to some things getting back to normal as far as volume. But mainly, more was being railed down from issues. Again, fairly consistent, but they did end up putting more versus truck. So far, I don't know, month to date January tonnage, but it's shaping up to be fairly consistent. Some of the weather up there has affected some shipments down, and COVID continues to play havoc. Railroads, the transporters, us, but January shaping up to be fairly consistent with prior months. Some capital projects that are planned this year. Obviously, there is for 2022 two cells plan. That we cell 25C, which is a little plus or minus about 4.2 acres, and 24A, about 4.4 acres. And that will be done in 2022. There'll be various, have every year, various gas well expansion and selection system, all that should come out of repeating every year expansion. And then the other big capital project is completion of the around the entire lot of that is for infrastructure that goes with it. Really lines, that sort of thing. Look at the completion of a landfill, and the perimeter road, and the part may be permanent perimeter road. We call it Pump House Road, and so it's just continuing that.
Would they be adding a top to this year or what?
Not the project, not this year. Lower half.
Gotcha.
Fees. We have December finals. So 2022 looks like we ended up at $3,160,432 in host fees. Total. $3,160,430. You have 2020. I have 2020. This one is the one I have is without engineering. The figure I just did included as the county gets a host fee from the gas project. Majority of it comes from the state. So this 2020 is 3,022,000. Could add 47,000 to it from the gas. Otherwise, yeah. you know, Tons, so hopefully, fairly consistent. Oh, definitely.
Right. Here you go. Right. Wait. I've done it, what? I think I was you did that day. You pulled it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, thank cloud.
We put in 2019. We started around April 2019, but these have been promoted. We put in ADT scales, scales big enough to contain, yeah, that'll hold it. But thank goodness
They do it.
they have to certified weights because of railroad. And the federal railroad.
Right. Okay. Anybody else have any questions for Brian?
The schedule, the rates. It says in the agreement that the bill will increase if the rates increase, but like these printed, I mean, is that updated annually or?
Yeah, it's for lack of a better word, a CPI kind of average. If the rate, if the, say when we opened, and the rates are, and I'm just making something up, right? So please, nobody quote me on this. I'm making this up. If when we opened the gates, right, in May of '93, and contaminated soil or something was that $20 a ton. And that was the average, right? You know, the average. So let's say the average now is $40. And the calculation, the increase the host fees. But it does, you know, you're not separating. It's gone up. And then there's, I forget the CPI or the urban wage earners for the inspector fees.
It's time to Southeast region.
Because that's, yeah. So that goes up.
And it does explain it right under the paragraph,
Yeah.
under those rates, but it's very, yeah.
We're not sure those rates. This was rewritten in 2013. Those rates remember.
Yeah, and a lot of it's gone down. When we first opened the gate here, I mean, we were getting $60 a ton for trash. Again, I'm making that number up, but we're getting, we're getting about 25, 26 for trash. Whatever. So,
Competition. More ways to recycle, I guess.
although recycling, we were paying $82, and we was going to pay the to take it to the recycling. So we're
Time to recycle.
it was
Hey, you take your trash.
a sticker shop.
I'm sorry, permanent. I'm in the box.
We have to take all the way to Tidewater Fiber in Chester. The closest one that will take all of them. You tell them
You can cut down their recycling.
Yeah.
They're gonna get rid of it. Yeah. All right. No other questions of Brian? All right, I want to, the next order of business, which is the approval of the revised bylaws. All right, this is, y'all know, something we've been, I guess, working on the last year to get updated. To maybe, I guess, clarify things in it. And you know how government work takes a while to get it done sometimes. We have the, everything done and it's ready for approval.
I think they're on the back of your minutes, the way I copied it. It's not a separate.
So, everyone, I know we discussed these and any comments, or questions about it. For one thing, everything that they clarified, of course, we were going after as far as, I don't know, when that was trash rate.
Allison, go.
I was just gonna ask for clarification on the staggered terms, like as where that's meant or not.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was that we were going to stagger terms. And since, Paul came on, and Donnie and Brendan, I think y'all came on about the same time, right? And then Walter and I will go off. Actually, I think we decided during the talk that he would step down next year and do was appointed to replace us. And that way we would still have the continuity and all, but yeah, Walter and I stepping down, I guess next June. I think that's when we set the date. Yeah, July the first. Yeah, July the first.
Thank you. Thank you.
And that's what I was under the, what we wanted to do. Since we had, that was only, one way or the other, you're gonna have three come on and two go. So 4-year term. Yeah, I think it's 4-year term. Yeah.
My understanding is, I think all ready to vote for it last time. This is the pro forma second reading, so unless there's any other questions, I'm ready to put a motion on the table to accept the modifications outlined in the last meeting.
I could move and second it to accept the revisions, our bylaws. Other discussion? If not, call for the vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion is carried. At the end of the, remind me how to get it. Okay, new business. Discussion and clarification of businesses. Grandfather for free waste disposal at the landfill. This is, section 4.3 of the waste agreement. And the permit, yes. But we're definitely reporting that. All right. I guess, so, know why this is coming up. We have a individual or two individuals who are purchasing a county business. Actually, or like the grandfather under this rule as a new business. I mean, it got out of the old business. There's a lot of issues I think we're gonna have to look at. How do you? Brian, on the county's perspective. And which one spot?
No, that's fine. I think the waste management has been pretty generous over the years in this regard. I don't know, we've had a specific example come up like we had. I know we had the issue of lane clearing. They don't really consider that commercial waste, but they made an adjustment to allow some people to certain that each year free of charge. It's kind of a gray, a little bit of a gray area, and that's why we brought it to you guys. Thanks. Good job, sir. You know,
That's right. You got companies still in operation now. That one of these does.
It's a handful, and what we call this the Dead Sea Scrolls. Because it doesn't come up as much nowadays as it used to.
Right.
Because a lot of those companies just aren't around. So, and just for, probably going to talk about this, but if you held a business license in 1990, that's what's in it. You held that business license in Amelia County. You're free disposal. And that continues forever. So at the time, this is the official list that the county treasurer provided. Every county that held it's a handful left. And you drive down the road and pick them out. It's all the ones you're familiar with. It's generally held that even when if just use an example, if I own cigar store in the middle, I've had it here since 1975, so I was exempt, and then I left it to my kids or acquaintance or something. It didn't have to be, I don't think, a relative. As long as you maintain that would transfer as well as part of free disposal. So that's the quandary that we're at now.
yeah, I guess the biggest question is if the nature of the business changes, if the name changes. What are the questions?
It's like we measure tons of what comes in. Can we put a definitive number on what's coming in right now from the existing business?
From all exempt businesses?
From what we're talking about specifically?
I think that may I comment on that? Yeah, if that's okay.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you that.
Yeah, so I think that, so, Dusty Webb, my brother-in-law and partner, and I'm sure, for this particular business, the entire disposal, and specific, the specific issue at hand. A lot of businesses, in order for Waste Management to take a tire, it has to be split in half. If you have good equipment and labor to do that, you can do that in an efficient manner. If you don't, it is a very time consuming and challenging endeavor. And I think that, so we do run a tire disposal business, and we're looking to purchase this place, continuing the automation, and getting our tire disposal. We started the business. Sam was one of the first people that decided to try to pick his brain about how we could operate a successful tire disposal company, because he's been in business for years. At that time, he was splitting tires, and he was not costing. The machine wears down, it's costly to replace the machine, labor, the labor market, right? And we are picking up his tires now. So at the moment, the quantity of tons going from this place to Waste Management. I think on the scheme of things, we were talking about, 973,000 tons
that's going in that landfill every year. And what our business handles, both the mechanic shop, whether it's the tire disposal business, it's small, it's tiny. Estimating to have tire disposal business plus what we plan to do at next place. Be somewhere. To feed, just doing math over here. I think it was mentioned $3 million approximately, 3.1 is 60. I said 3, so that's $3.24 that goes to the county. I'm talking about 2,000 tons, about 6,400 acres. That is the tip fee. Now, as a result of waste management, and charging the tip fee for us to dispose. So, anyway, I'm rambling, but the point that I wanted to drive home this particular point is quantity of our whole operation, existing business that we plan to bring in that location. It's very small. What Sam is taking to waste management today is very small.
One question on the tires, are they all Amelia tires that you're dealing with, or are you bringing in from other counties?
So, yes, we are bringing in from other counties. We do handle the disposal for county shops, and even with sort of this being relatively public knowledge that we're looking to buy a business that's sort of in that same business as, customers here in the county, all indications of like we continue those relationships. And this would allow us to have competitive price rather than the entire business.
So I understand what you're saying. You're not only looking at tires from this place, and you also want tires from your reclaim business also included in that.
So I think that all there's I think that there's best case and worst case. When I hear numbers that I heard this morning, and I also am aware that the Rush, I think there's 100 tons. So that's 1,200 tons. I don't think it's a huge ask for it to be both. The facility at this place also has a 40 by 80 covered room in the back. Tires and metal warehouse that we're going to put up. And the ability to have this grandfather allow us to clean the place up quickly, allow us to create jobs, and investing in capital equipment and sites. When we started conversations about where we can operate, we came in and Taylor and had conversations with Crystal and Patty. We were looking for a place to repurpose tires, and we needed that to do that. The goal ultimately is to get into the shipping side of this and be able to not just take the chips to landfill, but to repurpose them in some way. That's the goal. Now, buying a new place slows that down because of the aspect that the money is going to take. Clean up that it's going to take. But having these tip fees grandfathered would certainly help us move away from landfill and tires and to repurpose these chips for these tires.
What I was thinking, place and trash on this place as they operate today. That would fall possibly under this agreement of 1990. But when you bring in another business in, and it's to that, that brings a whole. Me, it's just opening the door for any other new business to come along. Say, well, if you did it for them, how come you're not gonna do it for us? So we gotta look at it from an overall view. We gotta protect not only the landfill, but protect the county also, because actually you're taking money out of the county's pocket.
Well, and I think, I agree with you, but I do think that you're being a very transparent operator. And I think that there's a lot of family businesses that are in the county that have modified years of the old, potentially putting shrubbery in a yard. So you're doing all kinds of things. And they're not necessarily here saying that they, you know, and I would also, I think it's a very, waste management's a $65 billion company. The obligation is to look after them. And we have a close-knit relationship with waste management. We certainly contribute to the economy. We don't, I've talked to Ryan a number of times. We're no. And today we're not using waste management because we can't afford to use waste management. So the tip fees, you know, the grandfather, I would say the county uses on multiple ways. And I think there's the whole, the existing business and there's the evolution of the business. If our existing business that we run to the time disposal isn't allowed to use the rainfall, it's likely that waste will leave the county to other facilities because typically for us in the current situation and the county may not be with $3 and 24% of time. But we are trying to operate. We have a lot of aspiration bringing up the facility. It's right here in the city and right in the courthouse area. We wanted to, but we're proud of growing the jobs. Right now, there's about 5 or 6 people working there. You know, by the end of the year, you'll go through 9 to 10 shop. A year ago, our existing business was 1.5 employees. 4 right now. Those jobs and the capital that we tax on are a significant revenue stream in this county. The shredding business, we're talking about a machine that's $200,000 to $500,000, and the tax revenue on that machine is much more than $6,400. 2,000. Unfortunately, you know, we're having to buy one of these businesses. It's not in our family. That is what it is. But we're coming. I do believe that I should have not brought this to the attention. And I really did. It's the right thing to do. I don't think it is. That's why I'm here today. So I'm going to stand up and talk about this, and we want to be very transparent about how we operate.
Aside from that, lifelong Lee resident wants to take over a current business versus shut that business down. That's a plus. When a lifelong resident to take over business. I knew Trip all my life. He will clean that place up. He's a big guy. You know, we're talking pennies on the dollar tax income versus what it could do for him to have money for their cash flow or capital for the improvements later. Any little, that little minuscule amount of money will make up on business licensing, be successful. We'll make up on property taxes because it cleans it up, the values hopefully will come up. All of these things will factor in, as well as just the employment factor. If somebody wants to bring in 2 jobs to this county is huge right now. Somebody wants to bring in 5 plus more jobs, I mean, that's huge. I think sometimes bigger, you know, maybe I feel it's always been historically bad about what you on the front. You want to feel for this, feel for the front. Well, nobody has the money to start out the front. But as you make the money, you gain them, then you dole it out later. I'm sure he'll sponsor, I don't want to speak, he'll be sponsoring ball teams and stuff just like I do with my business now once I got it. He will invest in the community. He's a life resident versus even somebody outside of the community coming in and buying an existing business. There's no challenge. They may come in to buy it just to shut it down because they want the resources or the assets out of it. We see that happen too. So, I mean, a situation like this, I think it's kind of unique, but on the other hand, I think it should be encouraged. You know, I mean, I use Goodman's as an example. It's been there since what, 50 years. And if they ever were to sell out, I hope that the county resident buys it, and the same deal would factor into Goodman's, and somebody in the media could continue to expand and grow that business versus one of the big corporate outside companies coming in and they'll shut it down or turning it into something that we don't want and we can't control.
So if I could play devil's advocate, and I appreciate Trip being the advocate, this business plan, and I would have done the same thing. I don't disagree with furniture. And I'm not worried about lost revenue per se, and that's what I'm more worried about the precedent that we may set. What if I play devil's advocate here? So, I mean, you say roughly 2,000 tons a year. What if you become big and successful, and then it's 50,000 tons a year, and then that's all free? What if another national company, if you've done so well, and a national company comes in and wants to buy you, they're going to make the same argument. Why can't I continue with free disposal? Some more examples. What if, you know, obviously they're a fairly new business. I mean, obviously we're here in 1990. So there's no way to connect the dots back to the scrolls except for this place, right? But we also have a business license on file. Their company. Again, somebody can easily make the argument and set the precedent for that. If I owned, let's say I opened up in 2001, I've been here and I opened up an international competitor, as far as international company, to Goodman, right? Since Goodman was brought up, and let's say I've been operating that block, and then I want to buy them, and I'm going to talk them into selling. I take over Goodman. Now I want to have Goodman absorb my company because we were similar. You know, I'm going to make the same argument that the Trip's making, that mine should be free. So again, I'm not the gatekeeper to run people out of business, I want Trip to succeed and the county to succeed. I worry about the precedent that we're setting.
I mean, I get what you're saying from the legal side, but I'm not, you're talking about corporate. I'm talking
I'm
about
talking
private.
about it, and
Well, I would do the same thing for any other private lifelong community resident. I,
but somebody's gonna say, why do I have to be a resident?
because we say you have to.
Yeah, but
Well, you have lawyers and contracts.
let me point out something though, that this permit is a permit, which means it's a legal instrument. It's unfortunate that the way section 49's been written. It's unfair to you, and it's unfair to applicants, I believe. It doesn't specify, clarify what a business is, what a business can do. I want you to be successful in your own venture, and at the same time, you not to be open to it getting bought out by Mega Corporation International and more than 2,000 tons a year, 5,000 tons a year. Seems to me like there's, because this is an instrument that we are intending to interpret for the sake of us, the county, our mutual interest, that I would suggest that we have section 49 interpreted by Mr. Gore to see what a business it is. And Don, you brought up a question about maximums. I would be open to potentially modifying the permit or, yeah, I know that just perked your interest, Brian, but somehow clarifying section 49, maybe to include capital businesses that are really unoperated, so that it's very clear. To signal is. I think walk up and speak towards your thoughts about what the business can expand, like you saw, conglomerate with others. The nature of a business may be this March, but come September, it's different. Certainly, it's going to ebb and flow with the economy. So, without clarifying section 49, I don't know that I'm comfortable acting on either by that, because I don't think we have to clear the time. I know that sounds like kicking the can down the road, and that's not what I'm trying to do. But honestly, I mean, I agree with you, Sean, you should be the business right. Do that is to clarify section 49, so that we don't get that. I might try it. I'm just doing this. It's going to be, but we can put in that cover the factors. So it's, thank you. I just don't want to set a precedent that is open to everybody. No, I agree. It's a slippery slope. But I think if we protect all of us here by creating that definition of how far the slope can slip, and at the same time encourage businesses here in the county, to me that's a way through. I mean, you just mentioned it's not really about the tonnage; it's about the potential, and I think we can address that potential and have solved the problem. Sure. Yes. You said you're going to repurpose in the future. So I don't know what the time limit would be. So if when you say that, that would all rubber would go somewhere else to be used for something else. It wouldn't go to the landfill. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir. Okay. Now, obviously that's a significant investment. Yeah, we want to do that. I think it's, long term, it's the right thing to do for this type of business. And, the landfill could use it as alternative daily cover to cover the materials there in the chipped form. It can be used in grain fields. It can be used for a lot of things. Now, finding avenues to dispose of 2,000 tons, I don't know if that's a hard thing to do. To this point, nobody would talk to us because I don't have chips on the ground. So it's one of those things. How many chips do you have right now? Let's talk.
Or they will pocket knife out.
You're going to do this in the future. Call me when you have chips on the ground. But I do think that we would be, if there's a limit set that's reasonable, that would allow us to be grandfathered, and we would to open up, Pandora's box for the future. I think that certainly.
With the revision of this, could we put a limit on sales? Because that was like a big corporation. Like say, if your company you're exempt up to $1 million a year in their sales for your business, because
That's good, because all of our small boys.
I think we can do this, without revising the set or the host agreement. I mean,
Okay.
I think we can do it with, just like we've done, with some of the clarifications. I think we can do it. And I think with a memo of understanding, between waste management,
Oh, right, okay.
and set a cap to it.
We go through, like Brandon said, I'm afraid that's going to open up. We gotta have public hearings.
Well, it's gonna have to, and then I know Drew needs an answer.
Yeah.
So it's gonna.
So we can just, we can essentially just give you permission to work with him.
Right.
Yes, since I mentioned that, I see the wording unacceptable wastes here was the permit he has the right to refuse. So if you were to lean on that and create an MLA, you know, you were to find that unacceptable, then accept it. That may be the whole through, and that would be per case basis.
Yeah, that would be okay. Everybody would have to.
They would have to put the same process. It's between that permit, the applicant to you, or an MLA would have to get over the hurdle of unacceptable waste definition. Because that's not actually a policy.
But
And I would say, as far as the cleanup goes, to me, that's already explains cleanup. So anything that's involved in that cleanup could go to the landfill. Now,
What about, are you gonna run the repair shop? Is it gonna be kind of a separate part of the business?
Yes.
Because I would have, I don't see where that waste, just from the repair shop would be a problem. But that tonnage is not going to be very high, have that in the,
Yeah.
no, but it would be a very low amount.
Yeah, I think, one of the other things that I don't think we can exempt or we can discuss, I think Patty brought it up, is that the tires from out of county. Like if you transport tires from out of county into Amelia County, that has to have a host fee. That has to be a charge. If not, you're definitely open up Pandora's box. If you allow out of county waste into the county for free under any exemption, because that's never, even when, who was the other? Anderson, I think, we had the one in, Blackstone or somewhere.
Yeah.
So he would have, two accounts, when he brought those in, it was a bank account, and this was from, so just, I know you have some, I assume, I think Patty had asked that you have tires from outside of the building, that you transport them. So if you transported those into Dick's, those cannot carry a free.
But I would challenge you a little bit on that. How many of our contractor businesses do work outside the county and trash is still using? And I don't know how many grandfather businesses there are, right?
What we need the list for transparency, maybe I'm the only one out of the loop, but it seems to me to have that covered. And all you need to know who is grandfathered in. And how really bringing it. Because I don't know that, I'm sorry, so I think that's even on you.
I mean, an example that comes to mind, and I don't is company that makes and stuff here. Those garage doors that essentially they're throwing away. You and farm between, they probably do a large percentage of what's done in the county, but their business portfolio is Grady County is a very small percentage of it. So when they empty the trucks into those dumpsters at the end of the day, and they may not even be taking advantage of this. But how do you sort of decide?
And I can tell you there's a pay component to that business with that. But yet that, without going up there and going through and watching, there's no way, it's an honor system. Even if it was this way, you're gonna have to tell us, these tires are from out of county, these tires are from, we produce these here. Or these with transport, so it's still gonna be up to, the top.
That's how Trano works. So Trano does county road, in-county roads and then commercial roads. Not on the commercial side, because I'm not afraid of it. So his are separated the same way.
At Dick's Place, insured with Bill Paul had it, and also in Sam had it, with locations at Turner Road and Mountain. So if I'm understanding, all we all talking, we kind of want to give them 6 months to a year. Let's say everything free, clean up everything down there. Get rid of the mess there. But let's just say that, and then y'all two start talking to each other about in county tires and out of county tires and how much you're going to charge or not charge or whatever. That kind of comes down to y'all. What you're saying, you have the messes down there is Dick's Place's mess. These guys are going to buy the mess. I mean, I'm sorry, y'all. Give them a period of time, 6 months to a year, whatever, free of charge to get rid of the mess that's already there. And then honorably, which these two guys are, then they can come talk to you about what to do with after the fact.
The stuff that's at Sixth Place right now, and we clean up is free anyway. That's
All right. Well, you don't do that, at least you don't get charged for somebody else's disposal.
You and Phil and Dusty get together, y'all can come up with a memorandum of agreement on the specific. You think that would handle what needs to be done for their cash.
Yeah, I don't think there's a need to, based on conversations here, understand to revise the entire agreement or the trip up.
Yeah,
I think it can be done as a private to private, contract.
Okay. Yeah, it's contract.
Yeah, is that,
Just like Dennis Smith was contract.
is there a way of sharing that with like the project?
That went a good job.
Yeah. Is that kind of stuff that you have to do?
I mean, I'm open to that.
It doesn't have to be
Yeah.
It's another story.
others that were,
Yeah, it's another story.
I mean, and
But I think the consensus is we're all okay with the license carrying on to the new business. I mean, that's kind of the whole premise of it.
I guess, hopefully he'll get a bargain or whatever, hopefully in the future, soon, near future. I hope it's not a long future. And then that would run its way right back to just the repair shop. And I had no problem with that part of me being grandfather at all. I have no problem with that. I think it's just the amount of tires. And I understand the business, you want to grow and you don't know how many you have, but, maybe that's something y'all can set a goal at on a maximum. And you would still have ability to dispose, up to a certain amount. And then you might have to pay something extra. But that would at least get you going, where you can hopefully make your investment in the machinery that you're going to need sooner than later. I think you follow.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I mentioned it earlier. Splitting a tire in half is labor intensive.
Maybe Waste Management has a grant program for tire recycling.
it's paid for with the disposal.
Somebody's past it is. Somebody.
Well, maybe they could start one. Maybe it could be the first.
So we're using a couple recyclers that process them for us. In two different companies, and then we do repurpose some tires ourselves. And to keep the guys busy, you know, we want our guys to have 40 hours. So we do split some tires and we take them to adjustment. Take tractor trailer tires and cut the sidewalls out. Purpose it is to good tires, wholesale, some of the others to use tire shops. And then it's a capacity. It's getting sisters who, again, one of them is a monster company. And, you know, we're peanuts to them. They not respond well to us. And they change the pricing on us with vendors. And it's just puts us in a situation. So you split some, like I said, you know, feel just really coming.
But there is a sale for the, if you buy the grinder tires, there is a market for that.
There's many markets, yes, and it's just it the alternative daily cover through the landfill can mix that with soil, use it. It's probably the easiest market to get to. Area, the drain fields is another. There's so many other markets. We have to truck material to Atlanta, truck the material to Greensboro or Connecticut, Tallahassee. It will be a miracle to sell my dad a tire. So,
Well, I saw when, I lived in several years, they were actually using the chip in roadways,
right.
to resurface. They said it was actually real good. It made a real good road.
How do you get to steel with it?
And so as you process it and refine it further and further, turn that material through a trommel. You know, once it reaches a certain size, it passes through the next phase, then it goes through magnets. And only after it passes by the magnets does it go into some applications. But as you recycle that material through that machine, the expense of that machine, you know, goes way. So some machines, you know, I mentioned earlier today, I mean, some of these machines are $10 million. That's probably not reasonable expectation. At this point, it's the county or has a grant.
That would be chips here at the courthouse, or is that like an industrial?
Yeah. And this particular location has the right zoning. And it also has a 40-by-8 building that we're sheet inside. So it's not intrusive on the neighbors at all. We're going to place the grinder inside that building, load the grinder inside the building, and maybe outside the building would be containers or dump trucks that are getting loaded by containers. Hopefully today. So, it's yeah, a really good. So,
Brian, are tires, split tires? They're lower than anything else.
they have become, yeah. I think, and as Brian's building up 16, so I'm trying to find it. It was several years ago. Yeah, but now it's like, remember was 50
fees that our sales folks collect. There's a lot of conditions, factors that go into it. There's two main ones, right? And yeah, is it 5 tons a year or is it 200,000 tons a year? Obviously, if you're going to bring 200,000 tons a year, you're going to get a favorable rate. I mean, and I'm not saying that. I'm just talking about in general. So there, I mean, yeah, there's a couple of factors. Fees are definitely, but yeah, that sounds.
Anybody else have any questions? Have anything?
Just to clarify. So I think we're walking out of here today with the existing business is clear cut, mechanic, automotive shop. What is there now that needs to be cleaned up? It's the house. Yes, potentially bring county tires that we collect. Grandfather, that part of what we're negotiating.
But I think that should be in the MOA anyway. So have it specified, regardless of what y'all promote, grandfather, or whether it's for your charge. I think it definitely, we're gonna have everything identified. That way, there's no question if somebody else comes, that, well, you don't have it in that agreement, why, how do you, why do we? And I think, just to cover you of the waste management and potentially and the county, I think everything has to be filled out. Don't leave it in very good. Yeah.
Yeah, and this, I mean, this might be confidential to you. Have you purchased?
And we're over contract.
We know if we had to go through and do the legalese on it, that might take a while.
Yeah, sure.
And if that could be detrimental to your plan, when you got the option of somebody buying locally, especially buying business, we really don't want to hold that up. But
So, I appreciate that. There's the letter of this, and then it's the spirit, and I think Rob, the spirit of it. As I mentioned, and I think I'm happy with what we're talking about. I believe that you can tell us from part of the pumpkin. I think that was a reasonable proposition figured out. But in the future, if figuring out doesn't happen, and the way it goes to a crisis where it breaks down, it's going to fall back to us. And that's why I'd like to have Mr. Gore's on this particular.
yeah, I was thinking
Because I mean, she might be able to say, well, if it changes hands, it's different. I'm not saying that, but that's going to protect the county. It's going to protect the board and clarity for out.
I do agree. It does need to have a legal, that language does need to have a legal.
Brandon,
Just so everybody's on the same.
Brandon, do you put that in a motion that Brian and Carolyn conduct the work to get the MOA, just, specified just so we have it on the chart?
So I move that that takes place DBA as is, move to create a memorandum of agreement with Waste Management regarding future intake of trash and fee schedule. Regarding that fee of revenue policy. Does that cover what we're talking about?
I think we're, addendum, that the current six-place property as it says is
And that would, okay, all right, so the current Dick's Place,
Grandfather,
DBA as
typical
is.
cleanup and repair shop.
Yeah.
Grandfather. Is that acceptable?
I think so. I think it might be wise to say that the MOA include, what is acceptable waste, because there is a pause for unacceptable waste. So
Okay.
that will go through section 49. And allow the MOA to address that.
All right.
What is acceptable waste be? So that between whatever your company is. What is it?
So, I think that we haven't officially picked a name for the mechanic shop yet.
You don't like the mess.
It's a mess. I'm gonna come mess up. Well, I'm trying to find a name for you. Would it be okay that Steve trips ownership?
Place known currently on the Dick's Place.
And then I can just stop.
Hey, Cindy, let's clear at this point. Yeah, so, right. So the tires and the waste that they're presently under the business of Dick's Place be removed free of charge to waste management in Landfill. Anything subsequent would fall under mowing between the applicant and the so I think
It's kind of a long,
you got it at it. Yeah, that's.
but she's still right. She's got 3 pages.
Just get the read back and see what I'm saying.
You want me to repeat it?
Some of it was kind of read that.
Yes, I do second the intent.
Okay. We don't want it then anyway.
And I want to thank Trevor.
Being transparent.
It's very interesting.
Integrity means a lot to us. That's what we want our business to be, and we believe it has. So we just want to say thank y'all, everyone, for your support. Moving forward with this, and excited to see what the future holds. And I just want to say, don't thank Alma yet. We brought people. Except CYA.
Okay, you want to read that back?
Well, what I've got is, the motion is to create a memorandum of agreement between Waste Management and Dick's Place to accept Dick's Place waste in place now, because they had an true shop waste. And then negotiate future later. I mean, I could.
That okay, Trip?
So it will just say the currently known as Dick's Place.
Oh, yeah, currently, though.
Let's do all that. So
Everything better than that, Christian. More concise.
I just have that in the MOA. We need to clarify what is acceptable.
Okay,
Yeah, I was gonna make a second motion on that, to officially request it.
all right, everybody heard the motion. In favor?
Yeah, so I'd put a second motion on the table to officially request that you clarify section 49. Okay. So like I said, if an MOA broke down.
Yeah.
So it'd be wise to always. So,
Thank you. All those in favor, say aye. Opposed? Okay. Good luck.
thank you all very much.
All right, so there we have the review of the agreement and NCP.
we just took a bunch of.
Yeah, we just did one of them, so that's what we did. All right,
I think we're gonna.
Y'all are done. Yeah.
All right.
Thank y'all.
We
Thanks for coming. Appreciate y'all coming.
Keep us posted. I will, yeah. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'd say one thing that these discussions are much more amicable than they were years ago.
Yeah. Well, this way. What they wanted to do, and that helps.
Exactly.
Instead of trying, you gotta try to pull something out. Well, maybe it's not exactly like that. I think they have, to me, that's what they do. And that helps a lot.
Yeah.
All right, so we're
The fact that it has waste management is a lot better.
That's true. It's got the right term.
No more change. That's a plus. Yeah.
You don't have a chance to review it.
The changes that are made, these score making these change, I mean, being included.
Yeah. Well,
Waste management.
Yeah, well, there would be a change to that. That would be change the contract. Trade the whole.
Right.
That's here.
Yeah.
But no, it would be a, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
This came up, the original had not been changed, hadn't even been looked at once it was signed.
Right. I know.
Yeah.
I think it was.
And, there's where they still had. What was it?
Chambers.
Chambers, the health department was in charge of inspection.
Yeah.
You know, it was just nothing, it left both entities for potential problems. At least in my mind, I'm sure it did cause everything today. So that's why I went on here to find a reason the committee wanted to get it up there, so. They make the changes.
It is 30.
I know that's what we started with, and it's already time to do it again, but
I remember I only came up with a couple of tiny things that would not work as a public hearing or anything. The dates on that commercial waste, in the agreement, the CUP, one says, I think, January 8th, and one says January 12th, 1999. 4 days difference, I don't think it's gonna matter. And then the other one was just, semantics in the landfill advisory committee. At some point, those would come and maybe to a board in 2 places. And those are the only things that I.
meaning of the permit or the contract.
Well, again, that's why I asked if Gore's the one signing off on this. And the reason I asked is just how he responded to the DNO questions, and he did.
Yeah.
He kicked the
Okay,
can.
well, after that,
No,
this is actually another review we're supposed to do.
right. And I guess what I'm saying is this. He kicked the can back to you. He said, check with your insurance carrier.
Gotcha.
Okay? All right? I'm all about accountability. Okay? I'm all about negative response letters. So my thing is, he said, call the insurance carrier, which you did.
Because I got dated here October 26th and 27th, and you got back to me very quickly. Thank you so very much. So you call the insurance carrier. With the insurance carrier.
I didn't actually talk to Carla, I think it was Stephen.
So here's where I'm going with my accountability. It's just me, okay? You don't want that stuff to stick to you, because what Gore's done is he's made sure it's not going to stick to him, but it's kicked it back to you. And so my suggestion is that we follow up with a response letter to Mr. Gore. It's our understanding that X, Y, Z, such and such and so, and this is what we're doing. If any of this is incorrect, you're the one putting this thing together. If anything falls apart, like dates don't match up for such and such and so, or it's called a committee here, it's called a board there, you're the one that signed off. Let us know within 5 working days if you need to make any paralegal changes. Now,
but I'm sure if there's any problem, the attorneys, board management, would sink it in.
right, and that's what you're hoping. But for us to see why we want to make sure, and again, I'm an insurance guy, so if there's anybody in here that's going to be doing overkill, y'all agree with me and say, you're being ridiculous, and I'll shut up. You know what I'm saying is that, just like this gentleman said right here, if anything happens in these agreements, it's going to come back to who? It's us. That side on the pen. Something happens contractually. Don't think so. Him and I just mentioned somebody before. He didn't do a very good job on contract. Cost the county $765,000, I think. Okay. So I just toss it out.
Yeah, ultimately, I don't think it'll come back on y'all, I think it'll come back on you're just an advisory board.
But
We don't make
what
it.
typically happens if you put on the right side of the D, the individual is named as well as.
A lot of connections. But the board would actually make any final decision.
Exactly. But I want to make sure that Donald R. Garrett, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what I see happen from having done it 38 years. I had some employees slip and fall in food line. You know who was named as defendants? Me individually, my company. Hey, I didn't send her lunch. She slipped in food line. Malone Schooler, the individual, Malone Schooler Inc. And each person had to defend themselves and provide legal representation. Me, the individual. Me, the business owner. That's just my background, and I'm just giving it to you. That's all I know. That's all I want. All in one day. You can really be right now. But you know, and again, they sort it out. They sort it out. So
I think I did fall 15 years ago. Sometimes,
but you know, and I toss this out here because that's just my background. I'm learning. You know, I went on the tour. How many days? Got to do it. You got to think of a wonderful job. Thank you so much. What you do, it's an eye here. It's really, so I was captured by 2 things. The size, it sounds crazy. Parts of it look like a park. I don't want the official tour, but I'm taking stuff up there that's too big to put other places. And it amazed me. It really was. Making yourself, I went, you especially piles of trash and crap everywhere. Honestly, it's like, no. I went, wow, this is all right.
they might go would be bad.
No, not like it's bad.
No, most of it's trash. Everywhere. All right, so back to the time. That's fine, Donnie, we need to hear.
Well, in terms of what you were saying, I think we expect to hear back from the board interpretation of minutes that would be written out that would offer us clarity.
On this particular.
Number 49.
I brought Mr. Gore's response and I bought her to take y'all. He can
Does the planning and zoning commission committee have, are they projected? Because I mean, I would say that would be.
I think the answer that came back was that all of
It's all out to say, okay.
umbrella became. Brian, did you see anything that you felt that needs to be changed?
Not at this point. Years from now, we're gonna have to something. 2 years from now. Yeah, and we're gonna have to eventually look at. And I don't need to change it now. I'm not saying that. I'm saying year. Eventually, we're gonna have to look at vertical.
I knew that would come back at some point.
It's a hundred feet. It's 100 feet.
And that's,
This big ground.
were you blasted them or like, yeah.
Wherever it was before they started working.
That out.
Fast forward. Because that's what I'm saying. What went through the hand on the love right out of the 70s? Right, I'm gonna deal with that.
From the site.
Yeah, and again, I'm not proposing it right now and not get things too riled up, but even if we're the most shortest landfill that Waste Management has, or Republic, or you know,
Oh, we are.
yeah. 210. Some, I mean, some are 500.
You have to have a red light on top of that.
Well,
What I think about that thing,
what?
anything other one than that.
What, yeah, you know, even, and a lot, sometimes the misinterpretation is like, if I did propose, and we want to go up 100 feet more. Just say this, we literally can't go up. You know, the landfill's not a box. Well, it's a traffic area, not a box. So we're, even though we want to go up 100 feet, it's only this part, that's the plateau, the peak, that's 100 feet.
So here it might be 25 feet and 50.
If you set to maintain your 4-to-1 slopes and you know, I mean, y'all know years ago, I know USA Waste and Chase brought it up and had all that, but I get the technical term, but like you take a visual interpretation of it, you know.
I still got the picture.
Yeah, when they plotted it out.
It's usable as.
Yeah, and they were taken from Maplewood Road. Here's what it looks like. This.
Yeah.
Touche.
Plus 25.
Oh, you do.
Well, I mean, in order to do that, Waste Management would have to come back to the county and essentially reapply. That's essentially what we're doing.
GEQ.
Well,
It'd
almost be like reapplying for a landfill.
it would be redoing the whole shebang.
Right, so
And that's what I said.
that's insignificant to this.
Yeah.
So, you know, man, how much is the landfill?
So
How much is it settle a year? You know, about-
for uncapped, you get about 10 to 15%. So even because you don't want to cap it until you settled, right? And then you can have, you don't want gas wells capping out on your liner system to flood. Then okay, 10 to 15%, depending on what waste composition, what's that sort of thing, what's decomposed on.
Something that doesn't decompose. Well, gross.
Yeah, all trips tires are going.
Right.
Chicken web. It's just hard.
That's just.
All right.
Hey, see,
That was one of the parts of the tour, which is going. What's that?
I'll get back behind.
And Myra going, it's not a sound.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes it real person. It really does. Made it, it made it real person.
I have right away else.
Yeah, that's right.
Makes it real person.
And I would imagine, that years from now, they did, ask for that it's probably gonna be, like, well, right now we've got areas that are capped. I seriously doubt they will get something, to rip the cap up, so much wind into it. And then, so I imagine it would be further back, right, or even the pork chop or something like that.
Who knows, maybe it won't be burying trash like we did in Lincoln.
yes,
That's exactly what.
Allison under protection, number 65.
Oh, we got time. I know what the pork chop. We can go now.
This is the favorite days.
Where is the pork chop?
And I don't know why, I don't know who came up with that.
I don't remember.
From Michigan, they call it a boat.
I don't know who, why. Yes.
All right, so back to agreement. And we need request clarification. That you already made that. Right?
Yeah.
I see anything else? The items that tag. You think we need to check? Let's check.
Two.
The only thing else, it's just curiosity. It says you can only bring in 7,000 tons a day. Y'all ever bring in with the day, son? I'm close. Okay, because it said you can go over 25% for a certain period. It's all kinds of legally uncertain. That's in legality in here. I just wonder if that's something y'all need to raise so you don't have to worry about
We,
running it.
yeah.
Running over.
Right. And that was a very good question. We did raise it. The last one, it was 5,000. And, in 2013, we did raise it.
It's just 700, it's just 7,000 tons now. I saw it earlier.
Yeah, we did raise it on the last, they changed. It
Used to be 5.
used to be 5,000. But with,
Right.
when you get event work, and it had actually came up, during the Bonneville days with the ash and everything coming by rail, that, it's exploded. And if you had, another event job coming in off the road, the alarms are going off at the scale. The computer is set, so it would get beeping at the scale.
Totalize it, it's 7,000 tons of solid waste per day with a 25% allowance. And then it says, so much, you can only go over so many times in a calendar year and all this kind of stuff. I just wonder if y'all were still, and running, bringing in that much,
It's well, sure, we're on about 4,300 tons a day.
I'm sure I could take the number you just gave us and divide it by whatever it was, the tonnage we're taking and have about.
What is the, no way. The ash. Is anything else that would be done with the ash or with that? Then you found a market, so just back out, and say that. Traveling more of it.
We have marketed that to some of folks. It's just right now, so many other places have it. just sitting, plants and stuff that they're able to get rid of that way. But yeah, we recycle, it was 70,000 tons of synthetic gypsum and ash out of there and years ago, and, the county got to reverse those. I mean, that's coming in. And it got recycled. So it's, those don't come along too often.
Yeah, still trash out of them.
All right. Anything else on the, on that section or anything in it that you said?
Section 56, I've got a question about, that's fencing of convenience centers. I believe I'm correct in saying that all are fenced with the exception of the house from the Tennessee. Tennessee has a gate, I think, and so it has a partial fence. I'd like to see those fenced so that, to prevent volume trash onto the bottom. So it's page 7 of the SEP. Section 56. It's the last sentence in that section. Convenience centers will be fenced and secured. Which, by the way, I think right now I'll do it 8 hours a week, just more than average. And folks appreciate.
Which are the ones not?
Epps and Benson. I live adjacent to the Epps. We're sure got a boundary there. It's not infrequent that we've got trash blowing from there, and your guy does a good job, but he can't. I know he can't track that in weeks. This time of year it's windy on that, and you have to see that the chain link fence on the old landfill side does its job, and so I like to see Madison and Epps kind of with section 56.
The Mammoth in Canberra.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah,
It's best on it.
it's got a gate on the side.
But it's got, like outside.
Yeah. That, and I would just like to encourage waste management, and this is going to be page 10 at the very bottom, number 75. In the event having utilizes any overhead lighting at the site, such lighting should be located right so that it does not materially increase ambient light conditions when measured at the property line. I mean, safety light is necessary, I'm not disagreeing with that, but I do encourage additional lighting, especially in our rural county, to stay as reasonable as need be, so that our stars are still visible. A lot of us would be real mad if we lost all our stars, me included. There are ways of shielding lights and different lighting that's actually not efficient. Compliance is there. I forget what they call it. I mean, it still gets the job done.
Yeah, you can't live to that time. Oh, yeah, it's certain. We don't have to hear, right? Obviously, there is. Like,
So we had one of the St. Augustine because of the sea turtle population. You had that shielding attack. Obviously, we have much of a sea turtle population. But I would like to encourage and just put on the record that as everybody's in favor of doing more and more lighting, trying to protect the wind nature of this county, and just saying let's keep our stars up there. So if when you do lighting replacement, then we update all that to maintain within the spirit of section 75.
Florida to Virginia, fire at night. Look at it, amazing how many lights, how much is lit up. Just up the east, that's not even saying going north. I know it's even more up there, but just, and it looked like it's visualize that it's a rural area, but it is lit up, everywhere.
I mean, when we were growing up, we didn't used to see Blackstone. But now you can see it. I think we're horizon. I mean, it's a big old, it's almost as bright as Chesterfield now. So a lot of that's
Well, cloudy, we used to see the searchlight from crew from the airport. In the clouds, you can watch. Plane, touching goes on. They go right over the house, you can read every letter on it.
Okay.
Like that, we're gonna keep on to you. Hopefully, but. I love watching everybody. And they fly over.
See, too.
All right, see anything else? Think everything else to me looked good. You know, we get the verification. Anybody else have anything? Yeah, Tom.
Yes, sir. I was just gonna ask, I don't know if it would belong here, but Brendan mentioned glossary earlier, and that's the term that's coming up to me, like, I just would love to understand better the category. And I guess just for clarification, going back to the 7,000 tons of solid waste per day, that includes sludge and like everything.
Yeah, solid waste is a DEQ term that means all of that.
Everything that falls in.
Why they call it solid waste?
Well, leachates, you know, that's like, yeah, that's like a sludge, it's like a leach, so like, yeah, I wanted to be sure that. And the glossary, I just, to better understand what's coming in, I still don't understand what different waste management, sludge, industrial, oh, sorry.
I did see your article, and I thought I was not dismissing you. I thought I explained it when I said we do that. That's an internal waste management thing. It may be better that we just don't do it. But we were trying to show all the different categories of it. And the issue becomes is it's still a human function. So if a TSR route is entering, and here's what I meant one last time. If the TSR enters, it's put in a new customer, it ends up, and the person's sitting there, lumping a barrel and they put it into the system, setting up the account. If that TSR record will be following a certain playbook, you know, we don't want, for us, we don't want 1,000 categories. But let's say she enters it, it's sludge. Let's just say it's sludge. Bringing in sludge, you're a new customer. Let's just say she misspelled sludge. That's going to be the new category. So you're going to have sludge.
Might have swing.
But that it's an act of Congress for them to go back in and change this stuff, and it's like, oh my.
So once we got rid of states.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes a little more sense then.
But it's all, and then sometimes you do have to break out. So like there's wastewater treatment plants, but then there's industrials.
Right.
So they'll put sludge industrial, sludge wastewater treatment, sludge POTW, and then it all becomes.
I just don't understand. Whatever, you know, like, I don't know where if that could be. And I mean, I just think of like insurance coding, there is a code, and no code right, it would come in, you know, I mean, like how it works in other situations in the world.
I don't know why they call all that special waste. You know, we should just call it special waste and MSW. But we have to report certain categories to the DEQ for the SWIA, so that.
I just, yeah, it brings me back to the other issue of how there's only a handful of businesses that are grandfathered. I'd be curious, if they are still around and they don't, you know, as a cumulative, new or we're looking forward to.
Well, because, so you've got, a default account, Amelia County free, so that does not get charged a game rate time. You do end up with, I think somebody you brought up, you know, train them, like they'll run 2 different routes. In Arena used to do it on, you know, you pick up all your free stuff. Everybody, he signs this thing. Okay, this is all free. Blah, blah, blah. It's from either residents or businesses, and then he's got another route. But all the free stuff all gets tucked under Amelia County. Sometimes the scale house attendants in a comment section will enter for fixed price or something. And that's just so you're not having all these accounts and stuff.
Yeah, it
And
doesn't-
it's not that many.
it typically doesn't get tracked individually.
So, because there's no capital.
You don't track the.
That's what he's saying is all we have to do.
It all gets tucked under that debate. Yeah.
So that's dumpsters and everything.
Oh, okay. All right, any further business?
I did some spot checking on the glossary here last night,
Okay.
and most of it is just amendments, Virginia Administrative Code and Code of Virginia as well. Where it references the CFR, so. There were, in section 49, there was capitalized a proper noun that was not found in the glossary, so that's why I'm suggesting put a definition on that. Other than that, it's pretty much straightforward.
We need a vote.
I make a motion to.
So to the section, all of those in favor, say aye.
Somebody for coming out. I was trying to also.
You pay, I like that. So I didn't realize. Somebody got out of doing anything, or somebody hit it.
Yeah, somebody pulled out somebody out of Diesel Road.
Where I was caught unawares. We got the notice last night.
I mean, is it about
We
right
got
your
it
house?
late too. I was like,
It's up at table.
Yeah.
I'll leave it out. I'm sure it's.
Yeah, I mean, I know.
You know, when you call it, you get some. It's in everything to work with. It's got to be some talking about. So they would come and do it without us.
think so too.
Yeah. I would do it out.
That was the definition of our.
I know.
Yeah.